Trump says a deal to end the war in Gaza may be near. The White House prepares for mass firings, and a look ahead at the weekend's biggest football matchups. I'm Georgia Howe with Daily Wire executive editor John Bickley. It's Friday, September 26th, and this is Evening Wire.
Jimmy Kimmel's late night show is returning to many TVs around the country. Broadcasting group Sinclair announced today that it will start airing Jimmy Kimmel Live again on its ABC affiliates. That includes big markets like D.C., Seattle, and St. Louis. Sinclair had pulled the show after Kimmel's comments on the murder of Charlie Kirk. The broadcaster said in a statement, quote, "Free speech provides broadcasters with the right to exercise judgment as to the content on their local stations." They went on to say that they understand that while not everyone may agree with the decision, it's, quote, "inconsistent to champion free speech while demanding that broadcasters air specific content." President Trump says a deal that would end the war in Gaza is near. Speaking at the White House today, Trump said the following.
It's looking like we have a deal on Gaza. I think it's a deal that will get the hostages back. It's going to be a deal that will end the war. It's going to be a deal which is going to be peace.
The breakthrough follows Trump's 21-point plan unveiled at the UN this week. He's calling for Hamas to disarm and free the hostages and for new talks between Israel and the Palestinians. Arab leaders, including Saudi Arabia and Egypt, called the meetings very productive, and even Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas signaled support.
At the UN today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed a nearly empty chamber. Daily Wire senior editor Joel Needler has the latest.
Dozens of delegations stormed out in protest, leaving row after row of vacant seats. The silent snub was a stark contrast to the raucous applause Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas received just a day earlier, even as Abbas accused Israel of genocide in Gaza. But Netanyahu made clear his real audience weren't the diplomats in the room.
I've surrounded Gaza with massive loudspeakers connected to this microphone in the hope that our dear hostages will hear my message. Our brave heroes. This is Prime Minister Netanyahu speaking to you live from the United Nations. We have not forgotten you, not even for a second. The people of Israel are with you. We will not falter and we will not rest until we bring all of you home.
The Prime Minister also spoke directly to Hamas, warning them to free the hostages now, threatening to hunt them down if they don't. Hillel Neuer, executive director of UN Watch, says Netanyahu's speech today was a win. He says the prime minister succeeded in reframing the narrative and put Hamas on trial instead of Israel.
He called out the double standards of world leaders who, under media and mob pressure, turned their backs on Israel while it fights the same terrorists who murder their own citizens. That was a crucial corrective in the global debate.
President Trump officially greenlit the big TikTok deal this week that gives American investors majority control of the popular platform. Following what he called a very good talk with Chinese President Xi, Trump talked up the positives of the deal. That includes giving key American tech players majority ownership and protecting Americans' privacy rights. He also joked that if he had his way, he would have made the platform full MAGA.
If I could make it 100% MAGA, I would, but it's not going to work out that way, unfortunately. No, everyone's going to be treated fairly. Every group, every philosophy, every policy will be treated very fairly. Thank you.
A new report says the FBI had hundreds of plainclothes agents embedded in the January 6th crowds. A newly publicized FBI after-action report reveals that the agency deployed 274 agents from its Washington field office to the Capitol during the January 6th riot. Many of them later complained of being unsure about what they were supposed to be doing there. According to the report obtained by Just the News, the 274 agents included those who responded to the Capitol grounds, as well as inside the Capitol, the pipe bombs, and the red truck that was believed to contain explosive devices.
Protesters tried to block ICE agents from driving into an Illinois facility earlier this morning. Daily Wire immigration reporter Jenny Terr reports.
Protesters tried to block the ICE agents from driving in and out of an agency processing center in Broadview, trying to thwart the Trump administration's Operation Midway Blitz raids. In one dramatic scene captured on a video, the demonstrators could be seen surrounding the front of one agency vehicle as they shouted expletives at the agents and called them, quote, fascist pigs. They also hurled teddy bears at the car as they banged on its hood. The vehicle slowly continued as agents in tactical gear deployed pepper balls to force the group to disperse, while some riders attempted to hurl tear gas at the agents. The incident follows the deadly targeting of an ICE facility in Dallas earlier this week.
Italy and Spain are sending Navy ships to protect a flotilla carrying international activists carrying aid to Gaza. The decision came after activists claimed drones of unknown origin dropped explosive devices on them, though no one was hurt. Meanwhile, Israel's foreign ministry said it would take the necessary measures to stop unapproved boats from entering the dangerous combat zone.
As part of a $2.5 billion settlement with the FTC, Amazon will refund a total of $1.5 billion to Prime subscribers. The settlement comes amid allegations that Amazon manipulated people into signing up for its free shipping option and then made it exceedingly hard to cancel the memberships. As part of the agreement, the e-commerce giant will automatically refund $51 to anyone who signed up through the tricky process and only used it 3 times over the span of a year. Anyone who used it more than that will have to apply for a refund. Amazon's also forking over a $1 billion fine to the federal government.
The White House is gearing up for mass firings if Democrats force a government shutdown. As reported by the Wall Street Journal, the White House's budget office directed federal agencies to draw up plans to permanently reduce their workforces if there is a government shutdown next week. The move, the Journal notes, raises the specter of mass firings on top of the customary furloughs during a lapse in funding. The move comes as Democrats appear to be doubling down on their demands for hundreds of billions of dollars in more spending on health care, something the White House has called a non-starter. The shutdown is scheduled to begin October 1st if no deal is reached.
More than 60 people have reportedly been killed in an attack on a Catholic parish in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. Daily Wire reporter Amanda Presa-Giacomo has the details.
The Catholic Herald reports that members of the Islamist rebel group called Allied Democratic Forces violently struck the parish of St. Joseph of Mangu-Rejipa in the village of Notoyo, North Kivu province. This happened in the dead of night. At least 64 people were slaughtered, many of them hacked to death, while others were shot or bludgeoned. The Herald reports that the victims had gathered for a mourning ceremony. They were unsuspecting and vulnerable when machetes, firearms, and hammers were unleashed. Some of the attackers then set homes ablaze.
Christian pastor, theologian, and author Vodie Baucham passed away yesterday. Daily Wire culture reporter Megan Basham has more on his life and legacy.
According to a statement from Founders Ministries, Baucham suffered a, quote, emergency medical incident and has left the land of the dying and entered the land of the living. He was 56 years old. Baucham is survived by his wife, Bridget, and their children and grandchildren.
AI just created a working virus, and the U.S. isn't prepared for that. That's a warning issued in a Washington Post op-ed this week. The co-authors note that scientists at Stanford University have shown that computers can design new viruses that can then be created in a lab. Their process is, quote, training genomic language models on the DNA of viruses that infect bacteria but not humans. Researchers wanted to see whether a computer could learn viruses' genetic grammar and then create something new. Not only did they pull it off, the authors note, some were even stronger than their natural counterparts.
A Mets announcer prompted backlash with his remarks about a Cubs player skipping a game for the Charlie Kirk Memorial. Daily Wire senior editor Virginia Kruta has more.
New York Mets announcer Gary Cohen struggled to wrap his brain around the fact that Chicago Cubs third baseman Matt Shaw had skipped a game to attend the memorial service for the assassinated TPUSA founder. Here's the moment from Cohen during Tuesday's game between the Cubs and Mets, alongside former Major League Baseball player Todd Zeile.
And I don't want to talk about any of the politics of it, but the thought of leaving your team in the middle of a race for any reason other than a family emergency really strikes me as weird.
The comment sparked some blowback, including one critic pointing out that Cohen and others appeared to have no issue with the entire team forfeiting a game for George Floyd. For his part, Shaw defended the move, saying, "My connection with Charlie was through our Christian faith, and that's something that drives me every day, the reason why I'm able to do what I do every day, and that's something I'm extremely thankful for."
And as we're heading into the weekend, there's some big football matchups on the docket. Here are the details as Crane & Company co-host David Cohn.
Saturday offers an incredible slate of college football games with 4 ranked matchups throughout the day. At noon Eastern, number 23 Illinois hosts number 21 USC. Southern Cal looks to remain undefeated and move to 5-0. At 3:30, number 4 LSU heads to number 13 Ole Miss. To this point, both teams are unbeaten. Then at 7:30, the day culminates with 2 ranked games. First, in Happy Valley, number 3 Penn State will take on number 6 Oregon. And then in Athens, number 5 Georgia looks to remain undefeated as they host number 17 Alabama, whose lone loss came to Florida State in the season opener.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Who did they lose to again?
The Florida State Seminoles.
Oh, that's right.
Those are your drive home updates this evening. To learn more about these stories, go to dailywire.com. And in case you missed it this morning, we covered some major stories, including James Comey charged by a grand jury, new details on the anti-ICE Dallas attack, and California's smash and grab epidemic. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow morning with a weekend edition of Morning Wire.